One of the major failures that I can recall is during my time when I was a teenager. As a young lad, I experimented with drugs. I was in the wrong company, but as I look back, I do say now that we need to take responsibility for our choices of life and who we choose to befriend, and pick up certain habits that should never have happened. And from cigarette smoking, I went on to smoking grass, and eventually, as they like to say in jest, we graduated to heroin. And I was a heroin addict for about 4 years. I wasn't so sure when I first discovered that I was hooked, that I realized I was in trouble, because I still wanted to continue this journey of heroin addiction. I think this is really something that one cannot blame friends. It was really my own choosing. There was a lot of pressure from my late dad. In some way, wanting to honor my parents and wanting to listen to them, I did what they told me to do. I have been to a private clinic. I have been to the detox ward in the general hospital. I have been to a private rehab in Penang, where it was run by ex-gangster chief. I've been to a BOMO. I have seen a psychiatrist, and I went to Singapore once. About a month or so, I was free from drugs because new environment, And then when I came back, I fell back again. As I thought about it, I also thought I would probably never get out of this, because I've heard people say once an addict, always an addict. I think it is true for most people. So I tried many methods, and then my mother, and she sought help anywhere and everywhere she could get, and so one day she sought the help of church leaders, and they organized a meeting for me in Singapore at the Salvation Army headquarters. I remember going into a dimly lit room, something like this, and round a table sat 6 men. And when I sat down, they begin to share with me how they came to know Jesus Christ and how their lives were transformed. And then I found out that around this table, all the 6 men were all ex-Changi prisoners. And they told me that their lives are now back to normal, they have families, normal working lives and so forth. I whispered a prayer in my heart. I said this, I said, God, if you are really real, please show me. And when I finished saying that prayer, like a parrot repeating after somebody to say that I admit I'm a sinner and I invite Jesus Christ into my life to forgive me of my sins and so forth, immediately I felt a surge of joy lasting for a few hours. Just at that time, at best, I could describe as, why am I so happy? It was just like bubbling inside me. Something I would say a divine encounter, something I would say not the natural, it was supernatural. But I was introduced to a Christian drug rehabilitation called Joe's Corner, and I went into this Christian program for about 2 years. Of course, if you ask me, I think some of these things, it is important as I reflect back that I had to make major choices in my life. I had to make a choice of going into a rehab. I had to make a choice knowing that just a conversion experience was insufficient. I needed to grow. I needed to build strong foundations. So choices are also very important, I believe. So saying yes or no is very powerful. Since 79, actually since 77, 76, I have never touched a cigarette even, because I always believe that cigarette smoking is the passport to other drugs. I would say generally to anyone that it is important to seek God, to find out who God is, because I think if one doesn't know God, you don't know the purpose of life. You don't know the meaning of life. And failures will come. It is not if, it is when. But if you go through failures, you feel the pain, you become angry, and then you start blaming any Tom, Dick and Harry, blame the government, blame your parents, and finally get angry with God also, I think you'll learn nothing from it. You just become bitter and bitter and bitter, and it doesn't help you in life.